Hello, everyone. We are three Black Pratt grads. My name is Mark Skinner. I'm here with my good friends Greg Cleghorn and Kenneth Nelson. And this episode is called That's That. Now, normally when someone talks about That's That, they usually mean that there's a conclusion of something. But this time, what we're talking about is pretty much like a phoenix rising. There's the idea that there is that's that, but as one door closes, another one opens, and it can be a new beginning when something goes away or is gone forever. And before I get to my photo, I just want to say that this week was really amazing because this was the week that Ketanji Brown Jackson became the first Black woman, to be confirmed to the Supreme Court, and that's really fantastic. So now I'm going to go on to the photo. My first photo, and actually my only photo, is an empty lot. Ken, if you'd be kind enough to put that on the screen, thank you very much. This empty lot photo is the site of the former Slave Number One Theater in Brooklyn. Yes, the Slave Number One Theater in Brooklyn on Fulton Street is more. Now, what was significant about the Slave Number One Theater is a long time ago, before the internet, Al Sharpton used to have weekly meetings at different places around the city for civil rights speeches. And the media would follow him to these different places. And as his national action network grew and the internet became prevalent, I'm sure he didn't need these places anymore. But the Slave Number One Theater, and I actually went to see him speak there one day. And it was interesting because he would go to Brooklyn one day, and then maybe a few days later, he'd be in the Bronx. A few days later, he'd be in Queens. And he had places all around the city, so no one area would feel left out. And I just thought it was really interesting that as Fulton Street changes, and it's no longer sort of this center point of African-American culture exclusively in Brooklyn, it's now more multicultural than in the 80s and 90s. You know, for him and for his organization, it symbolizes, well, we may not be in that space anymore, but at the same time, we are now nationwide. He's got almost 100 National Action Network chapters all over the country. And if I had not been to this theater, or the space where this theater was recently, and I had not gone to see him speak years and years and years and years ago, when it was a theater, I might not have found that out. So it was kind of interesting to see that, wow, it was really great to see that, it wasn't a loss, but it was just a door closes and they were able to move on to the digital age. And that is it for my one photo. So
where is that?
That's on Fulton Street. I think it's, I don't remember what block. It's either the 1100 block, the 1200 block, or the 1300 block. It's one of those, but it's
okay.
It's
where? I mean, is it out by
Fulton
Atlantic,
and
Schenectady?
Fulton and Bedford.
Bedford. Okay, so it's right in the heart of Bed-Stuy.
No, it's on the edge.
It's
on
right. Yeah, it's right on
Fulton
the
and Bedford.
Avenue.
Yeah, Fulton and Bedford is on the edge.
Yeah, it's a few doors.
What do you mean by edge?
The edge, well, it's not the center of Bed-Stuy. It's on the edge because you're close to Clinton Hill at that point. And you're
Clinton Hill,
2 blocks down and you're in the Clinton Hill.
Okay.
So you're not really dead center in Bed-Stuy.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Cool.
Okay.
It's going to be transportation. It's right there with the train.
How long ago was it gone? I mean, when did they demolish it?
Now, see, that I don't know how long it was gone, but I was surprised because when I started traveling in this area, again, I hadn't traveled in this area for 20 years or so, maybe 30, and on a regular basis. I just noticed, I said, where's this theater? And I had been wondering where this old theater was, where I'd gone to see Al Sharpton, Reverend Sharpton speak, and it was gone. So I looked it up. It actually has a Wikipedia entry. It was a movie theater before that, and it's the Slave Number One Theater on Fulton Street. It's kind of amazing.
Yeah, hey Mark, question, because when you present something like this to someone, and it's something that is no longer there, how do you validate what it is you're saying.
It's like
How do you
here's
validate that
where
it once
something
was
went.
there?
Yeah.
Well,
Because-
you mean how do I say that? How do I say that? Oh, this definitely was the place. I mean, it could be anywhere. Is what you're telling me?
Yeah.
Well, I guess in this case, this happens to be a cell phone photo, so I'm sure the GPS would verify exactly what I'm saying if you really want to get that granular with your analysis. But oddly enough,
Granular, but I mean, you're telling a story with just the first chapter or the 8th chapter. It doesn't really tell a whole story. Not granular. I mean, it'd be nice to know something. Slave
Well-
One. I don't even remember that on Fulton.
Yep. The crazy part about it is that, look, I'm telling you this one snippet of this abandoned lot. And to me,
Right.
what's fascinating is that there's a whole generation of people who pass this abandoned lot and they don't know, or should they pass this abandoned lot, and they have no idea what was there ever. And, before Al Sharpton used to speak there, it was just a regular movie theater.
Yeah.
And so there's a bunch of people who go to this space, they pass this space every day, and they have no idea the amount of Brooklyn history, the amount of African American history at this point that's in this space, and that's it. It's really kind of wild. So
Similar to the where the Globetrotters used to play up in Harlem, that whole community center is shut down, and people just walk by and it's just like an empty lot. But it was, a center for culture in Harlem.
Yeah. Now I'll tell you what: if somebody is watching our video and they verify that I am in fact wrong, and it's really the building next door, I will gladly post an apology. But I'm pretty
Well,
sure.
you gotta research it. You already named it and claimed it. You gotta do your research.
I know, but I'm going out on a limb on this one because I'm pretty sure I got it right. But I could be wrong because that's how the world is these days. Because unfortunately, the other buildings are abandoned as well. The marquee isn't on either of these buildings, and, So I counted, and it looks like this is the spot because there's only one building missing, and there's nothing else that looks even remotely like a theater from the exterior. We'll see.
There's nothing
Hopefully.
there.
But you know
Moving
what?
along. You're up,
One
kid.
of our viewers will call me on this if I'm wrong. If I'm correct, then fantastic. But what's most important is that on this incredible, auspicious week, I was able to give a shout out to both Katachi Brown Jackson and Al Sharpton in one cell phone photo. I mean, how's that?
Okay, all right. So I'll just put this out there for you, those of you who are looking at this video, this episode, and are curious as to the nature of the photo without the actual building in it. Let us know your thoughts, your questions about, if you have any questions at all about where the building is, where the building was, or if it in fact was or is there. So
Kind of a
Spike Lee shot. She's got to have it in Fort Greene Park.
It's a whatnot. You know what I mean? It's a whatnot. It's like what's not there.
What's not?
There you go.
Spike Lee shot. She's got to have it in Fort Greene Park.
Okay. So am I ready to move on to my
Please.
Yes. At this point, we're going on to Kenneth.
Okay. All right. So the title was That's That, and Mark's the sort of subtitle of the episode was how do I read this? Illustrating success, yours or someone else's, could even be successful completion of a photographic project. So I just took it as completion of a photographic project, which I thought was kind of interesting. So I'm going to tell you a story about a building. And a building that used to be a classic building in the midtown of New York, and this has now been transported to something else. So this building? I'm going to show you. This is the Penn's. Oh my goodness, I forgot. It's the main post office building in Manhattan, 33rd Street and 8th Avenue, and it was converted to It was converted to extension of the Penn Station train hall. And so
no way. Wait a minute. The neither wind nor snow nor gloom of night building, the big monsters.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. When did
this is it.
Everything is everything. They still have a post office in the front as soon as you go up the steps.
Yeah, the post office is still there. It just doesn't occupy that whole gargantuan building.
Wow.
And what's
Okay.
replaced it is the Amtrak service to Penn Station. And what I thought was interesting about it was it opened up in January 2021, and I wanted to see this, and this is what it looked like in January 2021. But what I was curious about was not only the architecture, but how the light feeds on the architecture. And since it's a sky-lit thing, I wanted to see how the building or the interior is lit sky. And this is in January, so we know that in January the sun is low in the horizon. It never rises to the top. So I wanted to know what the building, the interior looked like when the sun was overhead shining down. And so that means that you couldn't do that on a cloudy day, and you couldn't do that on a cloudy day in winter. You basically had to wait till a sunny day in summer. And so that's what I had to do if I wanted to feed that feeling and understanding.
Scratch that itch.
Scratch that edge. So I went back the next day just to see if there were what the difference was between that day and the next day. And of course, this was a partly cloudy time, so this was when the sun was behind the clouds. But you get a feeling of the building, and you get a feeling of the space, and it's really cool. But I was still hungry for what the building looked like when sun was hitting this floor, and I finally had that day. I think in August, June or August, somewhere in June or August. I can give you the date. It's August.
That's very patient of you, Ken.
Right?
Very
Well,
cool.
you keep going back, and so what I love about the sky, of course, it's skylit, but the building takes on a certain dynamic when the sunlight hits the floor in totality, meaning that
Uh-huh.
every square inch of the floor in each corner is hit by sunshine.
Uh-huh.
So I just thought that was kind of a thing to fix. And so, to me, once I reached that pinnacle of experience in experiencing sunlight hitting the floor in all corners, my scratch was finally finished, and my itch was finally fed. And
My itch was scratch.
yeah,
Very cool.
yeah,
I like it. I like it a lot, especially the going back part. Because sometimes, I mean, you like the elements. That's for me. That's painting with light for me. Because it's like I love the space, but there's something missing. And then you had already identified it as the right lighting, and you knew the city well enough to know, okay, the sun isn't getting up that high. That's for me. That's what um, thoughtful photography is about. I mean, anybody can snap a picture, but that's the difference between a snapshot and a picture that says something to, well, you, the photographer, of course, but also to your viewers when they see it, because they might not have ever seen the space lit up like that. If they're
hmm
commuters, they come in the morning, they leave at night, so they may never see it like that. So that's like a whole nother visual experience for you, the photographer, because you're like, it's there, it's there, it's there. I'll wait.
yeah, yeah.
I'm bravo.
Okay, that's all I got. Mark.
Okay. No, I think it's pretty neat.
It looks
I
like
have a
an
question
old,
for
like those
you.
old
On the
English, like
this
old English
photograph.
train stations.
Oh yeah, it does. I mean, well, yeah. It also looks like the
Like,
original Grand Central, right, where it's got the beams that are visible in the
Yep.
panes
hmm
in the ceiling. I have a question for you. There in the previous photograph, there looked like there were markings on the right side, almost looked like circular sprocket holes. What is that? Is that
That's
part of the
that.
light hitting?
That's the I-beam. That's the exposed I-beam.
I
oh
And
yeah,
those are
yeah.
the rivets to the
Those are
I-beam.
the rivets. Yeah. It looks like
Oh,
a it looks like a strip of negative film.
Yeah,
yes, that's what I said. They look like sprocket holes.
yeah.
Yeah, it's kind
I
of a yeah.
yeah. When there's a second level, which was I was up, and of course when you're there, you're taking a quick glance and you're thinking, okay, how can you make this more dynamic? What can you do to feed the visuals? And so you put things in you make that foreground background relationship thing, or you do something to add to the visual excitement of the image.
Hmm.
Right. It's funny because for me, visually, that read as sprocket holes, but for someone who's only a digital photographer, I'm sure it reads more as what it is. So, yeah, pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't really read as anything because it looks so out of place,
Well,
but
I,
I
I hear you, but to me, I'm so used to seeing photographs. I mean, we used to do color negative film contact sheets, so and
right.
and you know, and I used to
But
do
for you,
scores of that stuff when I
Yeah.
worked in the color darkrooms. It's like, that
right?
looked at
So
the
that
whatever China marker. So that indicates to me it's a color negative contact sheet, and either you put black tape or you cut the other three sides, and I'm seeing the sprocket holes somehow. So it's weird. It's a weird
that's
how
cool. But I mean, it says different things to different people. Somebody
It's
that,
right.
like you said, if they were into digital, they wouldn't know what that is.
Yeah.
But it does speak something, a visual language to somebody who's been shooting long enough to, to be able to see contact sheets.
Yeah, right. But I have another question. That blue light, which is obviously put there so that it's seen in conjunction with the sun at whatever time of day that is. Or should I say, is that a blue light on the ceiling on the left side?
Yeah,
A
it's
blue-
it's accent lighting. The building has
Right.
accent lighting.
Right. So whoever the architect and the interior design person for this, they understood that space very well, and they understood the light that's coming into that place.
Yes, they did, and I'm not sure how the light is timed, whether it's not on in the daytime or when the sun is shining, because as you see, when my previous light, it was there when I went back on the first day, and then it was there on the second day.
Right.
I think, but on this day when I went back in August, it's not on.
Right. It might just be time of day. It might just
It might be time of day, the way the light it hits the building. When the sun's out, it may be off because
Yeah.
it loses its effect. I couldn't tell you, but at least those were the
You could
experiences I had when I got there.
you could do like a whole thesis on that space. I'm sure it changes constantly.
It's probably one of the most photographed interiors in the last 2 years in New York City, at least
Oh,
Mhm.
for
yeah.
photographers and train aficionados. So absolutely.
Okay.
But it's new and you have access.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
something too.
Definitely do.
Right. Anything else, Ken?
No, that's good for me.
All right. So we are now on to Greg. All right, Greg. Yeah.
Okay, I got the gloves. Anybody want to bend over and cough? No, I'm not actually doing some gardening. I touched something and broke out, man. So gardening. Hopefully in a few weeks I'll have some nice juicy cantaloupes and big melons.
See,
And
I thought those were white cotton gloves,
oh no, no,
and you were
that's
just run out of the dark room yourself, and you decided to join us for this meeting.
Okay, Greg.
I made him freeze. Okay, all right. I didn't think he'd run out of it, but they reminded me of the cotton gloves.
Okay, his actual video froze. Okay.
Oh,
Well, Greg, I guess he can't speak to this thing, Greg. I don't think we've run into this situation before. But
good.
let's at least show what
Into him. Yeah, let's show.
let's show what Greg's images are. Now, I'm sure that if he comes back, he'll speak to it.
Mhm.
But Greg has submitted 3 images for this project. I can't speak to what Greg's thoughts are, but we can at least
Nope.
show the 3 images. So and this is his first image,
Right.
and I'm not sure if he is the person in the photograph or not, but that's what he's presented.
Right.
Then he shows this image, which is a black and white version of, I think, the same place. Yeah, it looks like to be the same. Yeah, this rock right here seems to be the same rock as this rock right here. So
They're beautiful photographs. Very
beautiful spot. And then the third image that he wants to do is, I guess, a HDR in color.
Yeah, look at that.
So this is a third image. So this is definitely a different shot. Wow. HDR for sure. But I guess this speaks to the finality of going back and forth, which is similar to what I did with the building, right? Which is, I'm not sure if this is all the same day or not? Well, actually, only Greg can answer that question, and he's not here anymore, so he got knocked off.
Well, all I can say is, well, we'll give him another half a minute. Hopefully, he will log back in.
Mm-hmm.
I think these are beautiful photographs. I'm sure you do as well. Hopefully, the viewers will.
Yeah, I'm actually I'm digging the surf and just this amazing sense of the sand working its way into the surf, and I don't get to see that often. So this area right over here is pretty intriguing. I mean, the whole thing is intriguing. Uh, the golden sand, the HDR maybe the transition in HDR maybe a little bit, but anyway, yeah,
Well, there you go.
black
He
and white.
epitomized with that's that. He epitomized the idea of that's that. So
Yeah, I would figure that this was the building up to it. Now, again, we don't know the time frame in which he did this, so, but definitely you see a progression from sketching out the idea to seeing an expanse of what's going on, and then
Hey, sorry,
seeing.
fellas.
That's
don't worry.
okay, Greg.
I
My
was about
phone
to
got
say
hot.
he brilliantly left us to look at the photos and let the photos speak for themselves.
Yes, I did. It's my one of my superpowers. Okay, I can't see anything. Is that the? Did you put a picture up?
Yeah, your first one is up.
Which one? I can't see it. I
Uh,
Well,
don't see a
the
rock
video.
close up.
right hand corner.
The
It's
close
got
up. Okay.
the silhouette of the individual walking into the surf.
Right, right. Well, this was when I was out on my vacay doing like a little photo safari early in the mornings. I just couldn't take it. I could hear the surf, but I was like, God, it looks so far away. So I got up like, crack of dawn or just before dawn to see if I could catch some sunrises. And the shoreline was a lot closer than I thought it was. And then it was just like kind of creepy, spooky kind of to me. I saw some interesting stuff, and it seemed like every time I went, the light was different, and it went from different kinds of dramatic. And this was these were the shots I took um, after about a week, I'd say about a week, or like the last week I was there, and the light just changed like in hours, so it's like if every person that went out there could have experienced a different set of sunlight. So I mean, the first one I just kind of enjoyed the monochromatic sepia tone to it, and it
Right.
was kind of a personal. Go ahead.
That's it. Right. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead. Just affirming what
What?
you said.
Okay.
I was
Okay,
just
go on to the next. Go ahead.
Okay, and we have the black and white.
Okay, yeah. There was also something about the expanse. It was. I mean, personally, it was kind of like what I was going through. It was like this big, wide open space, and it's cool looking, but it's like super dangerous. And there's signs: danger, do not enter. There's like big holes that would swallow you up. They're like they look like they were like blowholes where the surf pushed, through the rock or coral. It's mostly coral and limestone. And it was just captivating to me. When I thought about it, and I was like, boy, would this look best in color, monochromatic? So I decided to do one of each and experience um, the visual impact that um, each color tonality did. Like you guys had me thinking about last week's false color and true color and augmented color. And I was thinking about that, and it's like, each one has an impact. Because you look at some of these okay, go to the last one.
Okay.
And like I kind of get a kick out of. There's this one photographer. I feel so remiss. I can't remember his name, but he did these super long exposures, and he got the uh, same place at night, and then he digitally melded them together, so it seamlessly went into daylight.
Yeah.
And the pictures were just so rich, and so it reminded me of uh, Jerry Olsman's work, and rest in peace. He recently passed. He was one of my heroes. The things he did with just the craft of it, and uh, merging images seamlessly before Photoshop. This guy, wow. But rest in peace. Yes. And yeah, I mean the HDR. There's a lot of photographers that rely on HDR to make everything dramatic and pop and saturated colors, and or even in black and white. You get great contrast and deep, rich blacks and popping whites and the whole. And make Ansel Adams proud. But, digitally, they do it. So uh, I just wanted to be able to see the uh, the same place but different. Because the sepia has a whole language to itself. I used to love printing in selenium, that purplish toner
Hmm.
for black and white prints. I loved selenium. Um, Probably toxic as hell, but it looked good. um, but yeah, I mean, and then your focal length has an impact on it. So I mean, a picture like the center black and white one, it wouldn't look the same as a close up. It would mean a whole different thing. And to leave the guy who was down there, hunting for his fishing bait, give him a sense of being in a space, to show how much beach he was standing on and just searching for these one little things. And I feel like I wanted to tell a story about that space, and how it impacted me, but how I was like, when I was over there, I wanted to go down to that beach, but I could not see any way down. But then I watched him for hours, and he walked down this little cliff path barefoot, and it's like all jagged and everything. And I was like, you know, locals know, and he was out there early, and I, uh, I really enjoyed uh, the light in that space, and that's something I don't know if you. I know I like the assignment where you say, a completion of a project, but light, oh man, just light changes so much in every circumstance that it's just, sure, you can shoot one thing and say, okay, I feel I've captured that, but sometimes it's fun to revisit, but yeah, for this one I feel like I completed what I wanted to capture visually, and to have, like, I think I showed one of you guys one of these images, and you were like, "Oh, is that filtered, or was it? How did you do that? What was that?" Oh, yeah, my friend. I showed it to a friend of mine, and he was like, Did you switch your camera over to black and white?" I was like, "No, just right time of day. The silhouette will do it itself." So love light. Just get out and keep shooting. That's all I gotta say. That's what I got.
Mhm. Just
You
for
guys got anything?
information, the photographer who did
Sure.
the photographs that you referenced they're called Day to Night, and the photographer is called Stephen Wilkes,
Stephen Wilkes.
Stephenwilkes. He did one Coney Island Day to Night. He did Ipanema Beach Day to Night.
Hmm.
So you can see them
Yeah, I
by
like the
Googling
Coney
his
Island one. David Wilkins.
Wilkes,
Stephen Wilkes.
Wilkes.
Stephen
Okay.
Wilkes.
Stephen
Hmm.
Wilkes. Goodness gracious. Okay. There's an article in the Wall Street Journal about why people are getting forgetful. And they say they're blaming it on COVID and stress and lots of things going on, on the border of World War III, little things like that.
Okay, we've hit the 30-minute mark.
All
All
right.
right. So are we
Wrap
done?
it up.
Yeah.
So basically, this was a story about renewal, and I guess in my case, and whatnot. No, it's also about the renewal, and so that's really all I had to say. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's the end. That's that for just a chapter in one's life, even the life of a building. It's oddly enough we all sort of chose landscapes or buildings, and that's really it. I am Mark Skinner. This is Greg Cleghorn, and this is Kenneth Nelson. We are three Black Pratt grads, and we will speak to you next time with another topic.